Hi, I'm Lou Gallagher.
I'm Corvette Ronnie.
In light of recent events and what took place in Hawaii, that's a huge, huge mistake that they are attributing it to a human error. What to do in the event of a nuclear attack? You need to be prepared, and we'll help you with that next on Men Are So Smart. Well, people are stockpiling special pills to guard against radioactive fallout, but here's what you actually need in a nuclear survival kit. Sales of potassium iodine, or what they call KI pills, which are often marketed as protecting the body from radioactive fallout, are soaring.
For example, Troy Jones, who runs the website nukepills.com, said that he saw demand for the pills soar. On January 2nd, I basically got in a month's supply of potassium iodide, and I sold it out in 48 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. In 2 days, Jones said he sent out about 140,000 doses of the drug, whereas he normally would have shipped about 8,400. Some local pharmacies have also seen a rise in sales. But pill is far from a protect-all against a nuclear attack. In fact, radiation health experts say it's pretty much the last thing people need in a nuclear blast survival kit, especially with the type of strike North Korea might be capable of. Instead, the U.S. government says fallout is a much greater concern in the event of a terrorist nuclear detonation, which would be close to the ground. It's because the fallout is formed and spread when dirt and debris gets sucked up by nuclear blast, irradiated to dangerous levels, pushed into the atmosphere, and then sprinkled over great distances.
One of the products in fallout is radioactive iodine. Iodine is absorbed and used by the thyroid gland in your neck, so radioactive forms can concentrate there and promote cancer. KI pills, which cost anywhere from a few cents to more than $1 per pill online, can block that absorption, though not without risk of side effect. However, radioactive iodine represents a tiny percentage of the elements that the human body would be exposed to in the event of a nuclear disaster. In the case of a nuclear blast, he says, the most important thing is sheltering in place. The best thing you can do is stay put.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to survive the searing flash of light, the crushing shock waves, and incendiary fireball that is a nuclear explosion, your next item of concern is the fallout. Sheltering inside a robust structure for at least 12 to 24 hours is a key way to survive that threat, since the fallout can easily outspeed vehicles as it gets blown around by high-speed winds in the upper atmosphere. Bud Meyer is a fan of the mantra, go in, stay in, and tune in.
So get inside and get to the center of the building. If you happen to have access to below ground areas, getting below ground is even better. Soil is a great shield from radiation. So ducking into a home with a basement would be better than going into a place without. Besides cars, the poorest shelters are made of wood, plaster, and other materials that don't shield against much radiation. About 20% of houses fall into this category, including ours.
Much higher in this area.
Better shelters, such as schools and offices, are made of bricks and or concrete and have few or no windows. So let's compile a list now of what FEMA recommends that you have in your emergency kit.
It should have 1 gallon of water per day per person for at least 3 days for drinking and sanitation.
Okay.
Food-wise, at least a 3-day supply of non-perishable food, battery-powered or a hand crank radio with a weather radio, and tone alert, along with extra batteries for both. Of course, a flashlight and extra batteries, first aid kit, a whistle to signal for help, dust mask to help filter contaminated air, and plastic sheeting and duct tape to shelter in place.
Moist towelettes. And you know, nobody enjoys a good moist towelette than I. Garbage bags, hefty, and plastic ties for personal sanitation. Boy, is that important, howdy. Wrench or pliers to turn off utilities And this is really key. Can opener for food, or in my case, for my wife, a bottle opener. And local maps, because the chances are good you ain't going to have no internet.
Yeah, very good. If you have the space, the need, and foresight, FEMA also recommends beefing up your basic kits with these items.
Okay.
Prescription meds and glasses.
Oh, that is so important, especially for the elderly.
Oh, boy, yeah. Yeah.
Like us.
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot it was us.
Infant formula and diapers.
That would be for a baby, not necessarily for your husband.
Yeah, if a nuclear attack happens, I may need to switch to diapers. Yes. Pet food and extra water for your pet.
Yeah, for sure.
Important family documents such as copies of insurance policies, identification, bank account records, all of that in a waterproof portable container. Cash or traveler's checks and change.
I always keep a little cash around the house, and I hide it.
Emergency reference such as first aid book, which is available from ready.gov.
All right. A sleeping bag or two, or warm blankets for each person. Consider additional bedding if you live in a cold weather climate. Complete change of clothing, including a long sleeve shirt, long pants, Ronnie, and sturdy shoes. Consider additional clothing if you live in a cold climate area. Household chlorine bleach, and a medicine dropper. You hadn't thought about that, I'll bet. When diluted 9 parts water to 1 part bleach, bleach can be used as a disinfectant. Or in an emergency, you can use it to treat water by using 16 drops of regular household liquid bleach per gallon of water. Do not use scented or color-safe bleaches or those with added cleaners.
I should also have a fire extinguisher.
And know how to operate it.
Yeah, yes. Boy, that's huge. Many people have fire extinguishers, never used one.
Right.
Yep. Matches in a waterproof container. Feminine supplies and personal hygiene items. A mess kit, paper cups, plates, plastic utensils, and paper towels. Paper and pencil, books, games,
pencils,
puzzles.
Kids, pencils are things we use to write with.
Yeah, and make sure it's a number 2 pencil. Yeah, the Scantron won't accept anything but a number 2.
No, and don't erase your answers.
Yes. And you should have some activities for the kids. Maybe like a game of Monopoly. That would keep them occupied for like 14, 18 hours.
This is what the world used to look like when there were buildings, kids.
Yes. And there's much more information available on the FEMA site.
Well, Ronnie, the fact that we're even talking about this is extremely scary, I'll tell you what. I have been keeping up on some of my research on what's been going on because my perception of things has changed a great deal since I've become a grandparent.
Yeah.
And so I worry that there will be a world for my grandchildren to grow up in. And it scares me. And I had somebody ask me the other day, why do you even care? And I thought to myself, that is such an insensitive approach. You don't know me. You don't know my family. We should all be prepared. And after Hawaii, imagine what those poor people must have gone through. And this was a human error.
We have friends in Hawaii right now. One of our deputies passed away, and he was from Hawaii. And so they are doing a little commemorative tour. That's what they were greeted to, was this alert that missiles were on the way.
Yeah.
And it's not a drill.
No.
I saw a Facebook post like, oh my God. And how awful. They had sheltered in a church, but how frightening is that? And people that are there are deputies who are not unfamiliar with scary situations. And you could definitely tell by the way this Facebook post was written that they were in a state of shock. I'm just wondering how many heart attacks and other injuries were caused by people scrambling to get someplace safe. We're all human. We all make errors. But it seems like that can't just be a one-button alert that goes out. There has to be multiple layers.
And speaking of buttons, Ronnie, our president on Twitter bragged that his button was bigger than North Korea's button.
Yeah.
What in the hell is that about?
And also said to the effect that our nuclear weapons work, saying that theirs aren't going to work. Honestly, I'm not willing to take that chance.
No, and you know something? Here's the way that I look at it too. And with these people that were evacuated or whatever you want to call it, dispensed to emergency facilities, a person who's, I don't know, 25 to maybe 40 or so, you have a healthy physical body and you're capable of getting someplace in the event that this happens. But what about senior citizens?
Yeah.
And what about children?
Yeah.
People, there would be a huge fireball, which would be then followed by flying debris of enormous proportions. It would be the end for so many people. And you know what I worry about, Ronnie? Do we have counter missiles? Yes, we do. But don't you think that it's kind of like throwing a dart at a dartboard? Don't you think it's kind of like, well, all right, so maybe we knocked 4 or 5 of them out of the sky, but one got through? Yeah, really? One got through?
One is too many. Another friend of ours also was concerned with the misinformation that was being handed out and was critical, and I get it. I mean, it's sad that we have to live in a time and place where this has to be something we talk about. And I remember, this might be just a tad bit before your time, I remember being about 5 or 6 years old, the Cuban Missile Crisis. Right down the street from our house was a telephone company. It was called Pacific Bell back then. And that was our fallout shelter. We had a map on the backside of our front door that showed us how to get to our fallout shelter from our house. So is it the first time that I've lived through it? No. But at 5 years old, I just grab my mom's hand and follow her wherever she's going to take me. Now I'm responsible for a lot more people, and it's a lot more frightening now than it was back then.
It's scary that, as Ronnie said, we even have to think about this and it crosses our brains. But it is truly important that we prepare. No one wants to think about that.
And I'll tell you, in law enforcement, everybody has what's called a go bag. And a go bag is, if you've got 2 minutes to get out of your house, you grab your go bag and you go.
What's in your go bag?
It's a duffel bag, and it has, a couple changes of clothing. It has about 2 or 3 days worth of stuff that you would need. Extra car keys, because Lord knows if you in a crisis and, oh, where's my car keys? Mm-hmm. So yeah, extra car keys, just things that, we don't worry about. There's no water in mine. Mine would be typically used if I was dispatched to, say, Reno, if Reno was having some kind of an event and we were backing up Reno Police Department. Ours would be specifically for that. They have a DPREP school that they call it. It's disaster preparation. And they tell you how to turn off your water heater and shut the gas off at least. Everything that you have to do, it's a checklist. You can definitely find that online. I'm sure it's right there at ready.gov. As to printing up a checklist and having that at your hand, I wouldn't necessarily say tape it to the backside of your front door, but certainly have it someplace where everybody knows where it is. And if you're not home when this all happens and your kids or someone has to go through that checklist, it's something that they can go through quickly and kind of get everything squared away and know what to do.
Well, this has been another edition of Men Are So Smart. We thought this would be very timely. Unfortunately, we have to even talk about this. However, we need to be prepared. And you can find out more information below. We'll link FEMA to this. Maybe use this list as you compile yours. There's some great ideas in there. Below you'll find the ability to like our page. We'd appreciate that. If you do, please also subscribe to our channel. It's very important to us. We hope that you and your families will continue to be safe. I'm sure that we'll be ready when the time comes. That'll do it for us. Bye. See you next time.